Hello there! I will start by saying something. This originally was supposed to be a top 10, but there simply aren't enough truly bad 6 stars to be worth putting in this list. Most are at least mediocre. Again, like last time, it's fine if you enjoy or use the operators in this list or plan to. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, even the wrong ones. Also, the comment section will be addressing some copium arguments, just like last time, so I don't have to do it myself. Now that I'm done treating you like a goddamn baby and addressing the nature of disagreeing in online spaces as I am contractually obligated to do, we can begin. Number Dusk. To be a goddess that can create entire pocket universes, the only thing she can create is disappointment. The first apparent issue is in skill 3. Every attack summons a feeling where it landed. The problem is that often, obviously, attacks will happen at the edge of her range, which means the feelings will block enemies outside of Dusk's range, massively reducing DPS. It also costs 100 f***ing SP. 100! I can go to bed and wake up when this skill is done charging. Skill 2 is also just kinda bad. The DPS leaves much to be desired, and 38 SP, while average, is very much for what the skill does. This means that skill 1 is her best skill, it gives consistent and high damage. However, it's not worth it when 10,000 other options do it better, and considering Dusk's costs 31 DP. Mainly, she is completely outclassed by Eya Fiala, who becomes a way better AoE caster with skill 2, and her skill 3 is 20 SP less and 20 times better. Overall, she's just awfully mediocre. What she brings to the table is not worth the cost. Her skill 3 is just bad, and her skill 2 is mid. Fool, it's Shining! Not the movie, because that one is actually good. The issue with Shining is that she doesn't really have any context where she shines. She gets gimped by how damage calculation in the game works. Augmenting resistance is way better, because it works as a percentage. When Nightingale increases resistance by 15, that is 15% less arts damage taken, period. No matter how big the arts damage is, you have a damage reduction in percentage. Also, arts is just way more of a threat than physical. Defense, instead of being a percentage, works as a simple subtraction, which means no matter how much defense Shining gives, a big enough hit can just ignore it. There is nothing inherently wrong with Shining, it's just that her niche is useless because of how the game is coded and because arts is just way more of a threat. So she is left being a meme unit that is only used for letting AK buff ranged units and for some AFK guides. Wow, we're already in the top 3. Whole Hey Yak. Whole Walla Walla Bing Bang has many talents. Unfortunately, all of them involve dominating submissive boys and not being a good operator. On the surface, she seems very useful. Her utility is amazing, providing both levitate and silence. The issue is that they forgot to give her any damage. While the utility is good, it's not so good that it makes up for her just tickling enemies. Yes, she gets a damage buff when attacking aerial enemies, which should synergize with her levitate, but the issue is that she doesn't attack fast enough to hit the enemies while they're levitating, so she really can't do shit with her talent. Her waveless effect is very gimmicky and clunky too. Waveless is inherently gimmicky, and this one is also inconsistent, so just use Angelina. Skill 1 is decent, skill 2 attacks randomly, imagine Shalem but he has mommy milkers. The silver lining is that sometimes this skill can attack enemies while they are still levitating, but the damage is still non-existent. Skill 3 is her best skill. It deals at least decent damage and perma-silences. But if you really want perma-silence, use Lapland or Jaye. Her module does slightly improve her damage, but it buffs her first talent, which, as we established, she can't really use unless the enemy is already aerial. Overall, Jorgeous seems to have solid synergy and great utility on the surface, but then you realize that they didn't cook shit. The worst 6-star, but not actually. Carnelian. She was in my top 10 worst operators list as 10th place, so obviously she's here too. For a more detailed breakdown, you can check that video after this one. However, the short of it is that Carnelian's gimmick doesn't work. The idea is to have a unit that literally doesn't do anything, but then gives you a big payoff. The problem is that Carnelian doesn't have the big payoff. She doesn't really contribute anything. Keep in mind, her skills have to charge twice to do anything, so double all the SP costs. When she sits still, she's outclassed by Beeswax as a ranged tank. Skill 2 is outclassed completely by Ethan, a free 4-star unit. And her skill 3 has actually very good damage. The issue is that you need to send a 2-week notice every time you want to activate it, so it suddenly becomes bad DPS. In a vacuum, she isn't even that bad, like the other 6 stars on this list. But this is just not an acceptable performance for the steep material costs that 6 stars want out of you. Honorable mentions, the consolation prize. Phantom is a very unfortunate case. In a vacuum, he's good. Like, he's not bad at all. It's just that he got massively mega power crept. So much that he genuinely has 0 use case now. There is no situation where Phantom is the better alternative over Texalter or Yato-R. You can watch this video after this one for more details. The same goes for Siege. She is not a bad unit, but massively mega power crept by Saga. You can watch this video for more details after this one. It's not even funny. Saga and Siege basically literally have the same kit, but Saga just does it better. Moving on, there's Mostima. I know it's controversial to put her here. People think that after the module she became Jesus, but be real. She went from F tier to like C tier. A big jump, yes, but I wouldn't call her good. She's comfortably mediocre. The main benefit from the module is the DP decrease, making her much better. But the global slow isn't really that good. 18% is basically unnoticeable. Besides that, the module doesn't fix her main issue. Skadigard is also here. In all honesty, I don't have a real reason to put her here, and she probably doesn't deserve to be, but I don't care. I just hate her, and that's my only reason. Kyubai is dangerously mid. If you look up the definition of mid on Urban Dictionary, it's just a picture of her. She really just doesn't do anything. Her damage is pitiful, and her bind is outclassed again by Ethan. She really needs the entire strike team with her to do anything. And finally, number 1. I wonder who's it gonna be? Who is it? It's Vigil. It's obviously Vigil. This makes it like the 700th time I bring up this guy. I've grown to love him at this point. If you want a more detailed breakdown on why he sucks, you can watch this video after this one. Yeah, I know, I've told you to watch like 10 videos, bear with me. The short of it is that Vigil relies on a very shitty summon. His damage and his DP production, the production of 2 entire DP, rely on the wolves. Issue is that they suck more than a vacuum. Their damage is pitiful. If you didn't know, you always want high physical or high arts damage instead of mixing it. The reason is that now your damage is getting reduced by both the enemy's defense and resistance. If you just had high physical or high arts, this wouldn't happen. The wolves are also fragile and contradictory. The more you have, the easier they die. However, they have the world's thinnest silver lining. They can technically tank any 2 hits. Since they have 3 separate health bars, the first 2 can tank any hit no matter how large. Also, again, he makes 2 DP. I will never stop making fun of that. And that's all I had to say. Max out your gummy. Bye. Hello, here's the members. Aren't they wonderful? Special thanks to Noobpo, Capybara, Lord Takeo, IQ is fake, Techie, Come to Brazil, Chromchan but JJF, and Ice Cube. You people are insanely cool, like for real, thank you.
One after the other, over and over again, I wish I knew